Okay, class, now we're going to look at a word problem, and we're going to be using the techniques of chunking, skimming, and highlighting. Now, when you get to a word problem and there's any kind of graphic, maybe it's a pie chart, maybe it's a bar graph, maybe it's a triangle, anytime you get to where there's a graphic, look at the graphic first. That's part of skimming. We're going to look at the graphic and see if we can even start to think about what the problem's going to be asking us. So, when I look at this, there's two columns. The most important part are the headings. This one says type of comic strip, number of responses. That's the heading. Now I'm going to look down the two columns. I have political, animal, sports, family. 9, 126, 108, and 50. So I'm already saying, okay, these are the headings, and this looks like some categories. Different categories of comic strips. So I'm already forming an idea of what the question's going to be or what the problem's going to be about. So that was an example of skimming through the problem. Look at the graphic and see what you can already understand about the graphic. Now we're going to go back up and read the problem. Mary created 4 categories to describe different types of newspaper comic strips. Okay, part of chunking. I'm going to stop right there. And I may even reread it. Mary created 4 categories. Oh, she created 4 categories. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. This diagram here, this graphic, is going to be talking about the graph that Mary made. She made a table. So, okay, I'm making a connection. I'm saying this goes with this, and I'm also understanding the problem now. So that was part of chunking. I stop, I pause, and I think, what's this telling me? She then surveyed 293 high school freshmen to identify the one type of comic strip each student preferred. Again, I'm going to stop. I'm going to look for anything that's really important. I may even rephrase. I'm chunking this. She then surveyed 293 high school freshmen. Okay, that's going to probably be important, so I'm going to circle it. And they each got to choose one type of comic strip. Well, that's telling me that these numbers here are what they chose. I'm making a connection between the graphic and the words that I'm reading. The results of her survey are shown in the table below. Okay, I'm going to chunk and I'm going to stop. I'm going to pause. Now I'm going to look with detail. Make sure I understand what the graphic is. Then I'm going to read the question. What is the percent of freshmen surveyed who prefer family comic strips? This is where we're going to highlight. I really want you to be an active reader. As we're reading through, we're circling numbers that we see important, words that we see important, and we're going to underline the question. What is the percent of freshmen surveyed who prefer family comic strips? Okay, we want to make sure we're clearly answering the question that's being asked. So we're going to underline the question. That's part of highlighting. Further, let's go back to that question and see if there's a word that's maybe even more important than the other words. I like what is the percent. When I see this word percent, we had it up here on our word wall. So I'm going to say, okay, it's a percent question. And I'm also going to see it's talking about the family comic strips. We're narrowing it down. I'm highlighting the important parts of the question. And I'm going to go back and make sure I circle the things that are important. Well, I've got the 293 total. But what about the family comic strips? I need to focus in on that now. The family is here, and it's 50. I'm going to circle it. This underlining the question, circling the information is all part of highlighting, and it makes an active reader. When you're done with your reading the word problem, you're going to have scratches. You're going to have words and numbers on your paper. So now I'm able to set up the mathematical problem. I understand the question. I may even rephrase it. Out of 293 freshmen, 50 of them selected family comic strips. Okay, I'm going to rephrase it. 50 out of 293. So now we've used our reading skills to come up with 50 out of 293. Now it's time we use our math skills. Once we have 50 over 293, or 50 out of 293, this line means we're going to divide. So I'd like to make sure you have your calculator skills Ready. Please put into your calculators 50 divided by 293 and tell me exactly what your calculator says. What do you have there, Seth?
0.1706.
0.1706. Okay. Now, you may say that's the answer, but I don't see that choice down here. Okay? Now, in math, you may remember that you move the percentage decimal 2 points to get to the percentage, which would be 17%. But if you forgot that, and this was your answer, would you be able to look at the choices and figure it out by process of elimination? By looking and saying, this looks most like that. Okay, great. Class, I just modeled for you how to actively read a word problem. You always want to underline the question, clearly understand what the question's asking you. Circle the important information. Okay, that's called highlighting. Looking at any pictures, if there's any graphics, look at that. And chunking, stop at every sentence, stop every once in a while, and look and ask yourself, pause, do I understand this? Am I making a connection?